Hey guys, what is up? Shock here. Welcome back to the channel, guys, for another episode of the GOAT series where we're going to be taking a look at 3 GOAT decks and trying to apply basically GOAT format to the modern day 2021 view or vision of what the format would look like. So today's part 2 of that series. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, guys. And I will be taking a look at the next deck coming up very soon after this one. This deck, of course, is going to be the Chaos Turbo deck. So the Chaos Turbo deck is very cool. Got your BLS right here and the card destruction. Essentially, we're going to be turboing through this deck as quickly as possible and making your Chaos monsters and then just killing people. So this is probably the most popular deck right now for GOAT format. It's fun, but it's pretty simple in what it does, and it kind of ruins GOAT format for me, but it is a deck to kind of show off nonetheless, and let's go ahead and get straight into it. So first off, for the monsters, you're running your Chaos monsters, so your 1 BLS and your 3 Chaos Sorcerer. So the whole deck basically revolves around these cards. These are your best monsters because essentially this deck just gets lights and darks into the grave as quickly as possible. It really abuses flip effect monsters, and you want to play 4 of these cards, I think, because you play cards like the Card of Destruction that you saw earlier, as well as a bunch of discard traps and Graceful Charity. So you are going to have cloggy hands with these cards, but there are a lot of ways to unbrick your hands or use the useless cards in your hand by getting rid of them for discard stuff. So that's your Chaos monsters. From there, you're playing, of course, Thunder Dragon. So Thunder Dragon in this deck specifically is a staple because you're trying to get the most consistent version of what a Turbo Chaos deck is going to be, and Thunder Dragon is going to be what you want for that. It easily gets you either 2 lights into the graveyard or a +1 in your hand, which you can immediately use with any of your discard traps or with Card Destruction or with Graceful Charity. So overall, a very, very powerful card, and even though it sometimes can be inconsistent, you really do have to play it. Next up, we're going on to our flip effect monsters. So right now we're playing 3 Spy. I think this card's really good because it really allows you to defend yourself before your engine gets going and lets you turbo a bunch of darks into the graveyard. So Spy is really good. 2 Dekoichi. Dekoichi is also pretty good, being able to get you to see another card and also being a level 4 dark with a decent amount of attack points. Then we play the 2 Moth. So you play 2 Moth in this list, you don't need 3, because of course we play the 2 Knight Assailant as well. So Moth is obviously really good because it recurs your powerful spell cards, and then Knight Assailant can recur all of your flip effect monsters, which is awesome. And also Knight Assailant, when it's flip phase up, it destroys a monster on the field, which is really cool. And then finally the 1 Cyberjar as that one extremely powerful one of flip effect monster that usually lets you get OTKs. So that's it for all the flip effects. I believe it's 10. So quite a few flip effect monsters. And then the rest of the monsters are just 100% staples. The 1 Breaker, the Magic Warrior, this card I think should be in pretty much every GOAT list. The 1 Sangan, and finally the 1 Sinister Serpent. Not much to say about all of them. They're all really strong cards, so you just play them. They're all really good. This is a discard deck. We do need powerful dark monsters. Obviously, we don't play a whole lot of light monsters, but we should be able to see them pretty quickly. Moving on to the spell cards. So we play a bunch of powerful spells. 1 Card Destruction, 1 Delinquent Duo, 1 Graceful Charity, and 1 Pot of Greed. So these are your 4 cards that you really want to see going first. If you have like Thunder Dragon in your hand, or Graceful Charity, or any of your discard traps. Also has a lot of synergy with your Moths. Being able to activate any of these cards and then setting a Moth is really strong, so you can just recur those powerful cards back. Kind of continuing with the theme of powerful spell cards you can activate turn 1. 2 Upstart Goblin. So Upstart Goblin's also another really strong card you can activate. I was playing Book of Moon for a little bit, but the problem with Book of Moon, and sometimes it acts like an Upstart Goblin in a way, with Mauve, with Magician of Faith. The only problem with it is that you really don't see a lot of face-up monsters. A lot of times it's going to be the mirror that you're going to play. So playing that Upstart makes a lot of sense because at least you'll be able to trigger them off, whereas against the mirror, having a book, you can't book a face-down monster, and then you're left with a T-set Moth with a book, and there's not a whole lot to do besides just wait for your opponent, and you really don't want to do that in this deck. You want to keep on going. Continuing with the spells, to knock, because this format has so many flip effect monsters, even more than it used to, and this card is so important to remove important threats. And then the 3 removal spells, the Heavy Storm, the MST, and the Snatch Steal. These are all very, very powerful cards, so not much needs to be said about that. Onto the trap cards. We are playing 9, which is a pretty high amount, but I do think that they're all pretty good. So first off is a 3 Solemn Judgment. So you play Solemn Judgment in this deck because you just play a lot of trap cards, and you know you can just keep on setting more trap cards and just make your opponent really sad. And this card's really good against things like Dust Tornado and MST. If they just MST or Dust Tornado it, you say, okay, that's fine. And then you can activate your other good trap card. So it's basically bait, but if you have more trap cards set and you want to make sure that those trap cards stay alive, you can just Solemn Judgment, save them. And this deck is really good with defense, so you don't really have to worry too much about getting decayed after activating one of these cards. For the discard traps, you're playing the 3 Rarity Break and the 1 Phoenix Wingwind Blast. These cards are very strong because, as you can see, we play so many ways that you can discard cards and get advantage off of them. The Night Assailant, the Sinister Serpent, and the Thunder Dragons all work well as unclogging your hand with things like the Chaos Sorcerers. These are all very, very powerful options, and they're also really strong at being able to deal with your opponent's flip effect monsters. So a face-down monster you can just pop or send to the top of the deck with these cards really sets your opponent pretty far behind, but the versatility of these cards is just unmatched, which is why this deck is so powerful. And then finally, for the last 2 cards of the deck, is the 1 Ring of the Destruction and the 1 Mirror Force to kind of round out the deck. No Torrential Tribute because you really want to keep that presence on the field. You really don't like to, the only time you really want Torrential Tribute is if you have Sinister Serpent or if you have Sanigan, but you play 10 flip effects and you want to keep those cards on the field, so it's not really worth it. But yeah, overall, probably the best deck in GOAT right now. Not much to say about it. It's the standard meta GOAT deck, but yeah, really, really strong, really, really strong. And we will be coming to you guys soon with part 3 of the GOAT series, so stay tuned for that, and let me know how you guys like the video, and let me know if you guys have any questions. Take care. Bye-bye.